Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. As the days are getting shorter and the temperature is really cooling off, the times finally came, now that we're almost hitting December, to winterize the coops and the runs. Now, depending on where you live, your winterization process could look a little different than mine. Here in North Carolina, we get, basically in western North Carolina where I'm at, we get a lot of wet winter. It's cooler. Always. It's cooler here, but it's rare that we get a long span of really cold weather. So we usually get a few weeks out of the year in the wintertime of really cold weather. Last year at Christmas time we hit negative, and that's the first time we've really hit negative temperatures in a while. So like I said, depending on where you live, how long you stay cold, and the temperatures he's not gonna stop that you reach. Yours could look a lot different than mine. Now, we all know that chickens are pretty tough cookies. Well, they should be. Mine are kind of divas and they're spoiled, and well, you get the point. But anyway, they are actually, most of them are designed to be able to tolerate cooler temperatures. They can actually tolerate cooler temperatures better than the hot, humid summers that we have here in North Carolina. But we still want to take those precautions to keep them safe and as comfortable as possible. So I'm just going to start off with one of the most heated topics. Though you hear, do you heat your coop or do you not heat your coop? Personally, for me, I do not heat my coop. I'm not going to judge anyone who does. That is your own personal preference, but for me personally, I don't think a coop should be heated. With a heated coop, you have an increased chance of fire, and that is something I don't think I could handle, losing all my girls because of something I did. So that is one of the reasons. And also, we live in a very rural area, so while we don't have a lot of frigid weather here, we do have cold weather that comes in. We do have snow. Even if it only lasts 2 or 3 days, we still have snow. And when that happens, a lot of times here, because we don't have that kind of weather often, we do lose power. And without power, I wouldn't be able to heat the coops. We went anywhere from a day to a week without power where we live. So if I heated their coop, then they would not be acclimated to that cold weather, and in the end that would hurt them more because they wouldn't be used to it. I guess the question would be is, what would you do in place of heating your coop? Let's talk about it. So as we all know, ventilation is very important when it comes to your chicken coop. You want to keep that airflow going. Even in the wintertime, you want to keep that airflow going. In the summer, obviously, we keep our windows open. Wintertime, we can't do that. It gets too cold. The first thing that I do when I start getting ready for everything is I will cover all the windows. I cover all the windows in plastic. Now when you do this, make sure that you do have ventilation available. My coop, and I will show you guys a picture, but on the top there is vents, and I do cover those on the back side because there's no cover on the outside. So I do cover that to keep the wind from blowing directly onto them. But their windows are covered in both the small and the big coop. So we do make sure that is covered as well to keep everyone toasty and as warm as possible from the elements of the winter weather. Next up, something to consider is your... Tina's just not gonna stop today. I'm waiting for Buddy to chime in now. But they're roosts. Back when we had chickens many years ago, we kept our boards this way. So, but as time goes on, you realize, you know what, this is not uncomfortable. This is not comfortable to them. They don't seem comfortable. It's not wide enough. So we make sure to keep our boards flat. We have we have our 2x4s. The 4 part is the wide part. And that's what they perch on. That way, that helps them to be able to lay down and cover their feet and their little toesies, and that helps to prevent them from getting frostbite. And it actually helps them to stay warmer. So looking at your roost would be a great place to start as far as comfort for your chickens. Deep litter. We have tried deep litter, the deep litter method, and a lot of people use it, and it's a very popular method. It just was not for me. I just can't not clean the chicken coop, and you can't scoop the coop. You can't do that for deep litter methods. But it is a great alternative, especially people who live in really, really cold climates. I have heard it works amazing. Like I said, it's a great alternative. I've heard wonderful things about it. I've tried it. It wasn't for me. Clearly, I didn't stick it out. So what do I do instead of the deep litter method is, so like our big coop, I normally put during the summertime, I put 2 bags of shavings in that coop. Wintertime, I put 4. So the smaller coop, which is a 4x6, I use half a bag of shavings in this spring, summer, fall, because it's all it needs. It covers the floor. I scoop it every day and I replace what I scoop up. In wintertime, I do put a bag. Like I said, as I scoop it out and clean it every day, I replace what I remove. And that has worked well for us. We're going in 4 years of me doing that particular method. And actually, this is our 4th winter doing that. And it's worked fantastic. We've had no problems at all. Food and water. That is something you want to make sure stays accessible to them. They need those extra calories in the wintertime anyway. When it comes to food, I personally never keep food and water in the coop because I feel the water is going to bring that condensation in, especially in the winter months. And food, I don't want any little unwelcome visitors coming around. So Pepper's really upset. So I don't want a lot of unwelcome little visitors. Now in the summertime, I do keep a small bowl of food in the big coop because I have some of my older girls who like to get off the perch at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and they like to have a early morning snack. In the wintertime, I don't do that. And I do put the bowl in there during the day because when it's really cold, some of them will go into the coop and stay. A lot of my older ones will not. If it's cold, they won't come out of the coop. They'll stay in there. So I make sure to have food. And sometimes I'll even have a small bowl of water. I cannot speak. Pepper's being so loud. But in the evenings, whenever I put them up for the night, the bowls come out. And I think I mentioned this a minute ago. I know I said ventilation, but draft. You want to make sure it's draft proof. Basically, I mean, if you're going to have areas, right? So we have little cracks like in our coops and stuff, but there's no drafts that are hitting directly on the chickens. So by that, I mean, if you have an open area, just make sure that, it's going to go over them, and you don't want that cold winter air beating down on top of them, especially if you have really cold temps, because that can cause frostbite, and that is something we want to try to prevent as much as possible. So anytime it's blowing directly on them, that's something to look at and maybe try to redirect it. That is something to consider. Is you want it to be kind of draft proof, not air proof. Draft proof, 2 different things. You want to get air in there, or you're going to get a greenhouse effect, and that would not be good because that ultimately could cause frostbite as well. So you have to always look at both sides of it. You want some air, but you don't want a lot of air, and you don't want it blowing down on top of them. So those are things to keep in mind. So now that we've talked about the coop, what about the run? What do I do for the runs? Well, really good. Now Pepper's going. Somebody must have made Pepper mad. Now our run, as most of you have probably seen, our run is uncovered. And we just have chicken wire over top to keep hawks out. We have never put a roof on there. We've thought about it, and by the time we thought about it, some of the building prices have went up, and it's a big run. So we have never covered the run. So what do I do? Well, you can only do so much, obviously, right? Because the wind is going to go in the top. So is what we do is, and as you can see, we cover the sides. I do cover certain spots, and the way it's positioned is the way that I was saying the wind blows. The coop covers that one part of it. So I cover certain sections of it so that they can get out of the cold. The under part of the baby's coop does stay wrapped of their run, and the sides are wrapped. And as you can see, I do have umbrellas. There are umbrellas that I keep up as well, and in the winter I drop them so they're lower to the ground. Obviously, if we do have snow, I have to close the umbrellas for that time. I have forgot to do that before, not realizing we were going to have snow, and my umbrellas almost broke. So I do close them if we're expecting snow, but that's pretty much the only time that they are closed. Even in high winds, I just lower them. We've never had a problem. 4, we've got 4, and then I have little A-frames that they can go in for protection. And so we do have all of that to kind of keep them out of the weather, because like I said, most of them will come out even when it's cold, and I'm like, I don't understand, guys, but they do, they come out. We also have smaller runs, and those are daytime runs only. So Tina, our rooster, has a daytime run to give his girls a break. I've got to cover his, and a lot of times I will cover the under part of the inside of his as well, because he's got big wattles and a comb, and I worry about frostbite with him. So sometimes his is more secure. The other 2 little runs, one is Buddy's that he hangs out in during the day to give his girls a break. It's only a daytime run. They got a little doghouse, a little insulated doghouse in there. Shavings, he's got food and water. That, I cover that entire run with plastic, and it's really nice in there in the winter time. So when we have like really cold weather, and I can tell they want to come out, but they don't want to come out, though we use these runs as like a dirt bath, an escape, a mini vacation from your sisters, to give them a break from their flock. So that's basically how we do that as far as keeping them cozy in their runs. I apologize that I'm all over the place, and if Tina's not screaming, Pepper is screaming over here, and I'm sure Buddy did, but he's so little I tend to drown him out, and I'm sure he's probably made a noise. But anyway, I hope this was able to help someone. If you have other ways of doing this, I would love to hear it. I'm always open to other suggestions and ideas, because I mean, really, we're all just continuously learning new tricks and tips when it comes to chicken keeping. There's so many different ways that everybody does it. So I'd love to hear yours. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.